Today we're going to go over every method of gaining nanites in No Man's Sky, and how to use them as efficiently as possible while still playing how you want to play. Nanite clusters are a currency in No Man's Sky, which are used to purchase both blueprints and procedural technology modules, as well as other things like paying a traveller for the location of a grave to get you those all-important portal glyphs. To keep it nice and easy, I've compiled all sources of nanite clusters into 5 methods. The first is exploration. Exploration actually covers a large portion of the sources for nanites, which is great as you can just casually do them all at once passively while you check out the universe. You'll see small wall mounted devices at almost every building site you go to, as well as in the back rooms of space stations. These offer a very tiny amount of nanites, single digits, and so are not worth hunting, but if you see them, just interact for a few nanites. You'll also get a few nanites around the 8 to 15 mark from the interactable little doodads on tables in buildings that often give navigation data. NPCs will sometimes give you a few nanites for certain conversation choices, but it's not all that much. Also NPC related, Nada of the Anomaly will give you some nanites for completing milestones. It appears to be around 50 per milestone. It's a one-off, but very helpful at the beginning of the game. Abandoned buildings can be found regularly as you explore, and will have a terminal inside that will grant around 30 nanites, though I'm pretty sure I've gotten nearer to 80 plus before, but that could just be due to previous updates during Next. Damaged machinery can be found dotted around most planets. Fixing these static pieces of tech will provide you with a number of things. Full drop rate of everything and more will be covered in a different video, as it's not a tiny thing, but the short of it is that you'll mostly get around 30 nanites. This is true 82% of the time, but can also drop Starship launch fuel around 10% of the time, and even upgrade modules, which are often S-class. These modules can either be used, or if you don't have need for them, or they are A-class or lower, then you can just sell them to a tech vendor in a space station for more nanites. Damaged machinery will also require substances to fix, things like sodium, sodium nitrate, cobalt, chromatic metal and more, so just make sure you have a stack of the usuals in your exosuit cargo when exploring. I'll go into exactly what you need for fixing in the more in-depth damaged machinery video. You can find various items while exploring that can be refined into nanites, which we'll cover under the refining method, but it's a good way to combine multiple methods to your playstyle and for efficiency. These include HADAL cores when exploring the oceans, LARVAL cores when exploring abandoned buildings, and salvage tech when exploring anywhere else. A big part of exploration is uploading your discoveries. When you scan flora, fauna and minerals, or land on an undiscovered planet, or warp into an undiscovered system, you have the ability in most cases to name the discovery and then upload. While you make units for initially scanning flora, fauna and minerals, you gain nanites for uploading discoveries. The amount depends on what it is and how rare it is. The rarity only applies to the fauna though. For fauna, you can also do a secondary upload of a completed zoology of the planet when all species have been found to gain yet more nanites, as well as a notch on your zoology milestone. The second method is sentinels. When it comes to gaining nanites from sentinels, it is very simple. Sentinels drop nanites upon destruction. They also drop PUGNEUM, which can later be refined into nanites. We are only after nanites here, so to keep the guide from being insane, we'll just cover the nanite drop rates and I'll go more in depth into everything that can drop in another guide. All drones, quads and walkers will drop a canister, which can be destroyed, most easily with a mining attachment to obtain your loot. They may also drop PUGNEUM along with the canister. The PUGNEUM is a separate drop. Unfortunately, I'm not at this moment certain of the drop amount and rate of PUGNEUM. I'm getting my data here directly from the game files, and while I found the canister info, the reward table alone is over 22,000 lines long, but hopefully I'll find it all in time for the in-depth guide. Drones drop between 5 and 10 nanites. Quads drop between 12 and 24 nanites, and walkers drop between 28 and 90 nanites. For on land fighting drones, quads and walkers, I would suggest using a specialised weapon, either a scatter blaster, pulse spitter or blaze javelin. My favourite being the pulse spitter. Mixing one of those with a personal shield attachment for the multitool will allow you to almost indefinitely fight them. it is a good idea to time mining the canister drops, as they will recharge some shielding on destruction. Having your exosuit shield mods is also very important here, especially on survival or permadeath. And if you are using the personal shield attachment, it will drain your life support when being used, so be sure to have a bolstered life support with plenty of oxygen at hand to recharge. Also remember that PUGNEUM, which will drop as the mob goes down, will only be able to loot into your main exosuit inventory, and not your cargo, whereas the canister loot will also be able to loot into your cargo on destruction. So be sure to have room in your main inventory when battling the sentinels. Really, with these battle methods, I would not advise them for permadeath. So much could go wrong, and be aware that in survival upon death, you will lose your primary inventory. If on foot, anything in your main exosuit inventory, not including tech, will be gone, and if in ship, all of your ship inventory, also you will have much damaged tech. The third is going pirate on freighters. The freighters are mini cargo pod ships you see in large convoys just about everywhere in space. You can go contain many things that you are able to steal by destroying the pods. If you target them by hovering over, you'll see what they contain. The ones that either say exotic or just cargo contain nanites. Unfortunately, they only contain between 20 and 30 at a time, but this does build up, and that isn't really the huge prize here. If you are going to be shooting these, you may as well shoot them all. Freighter pods can contain 200 to 250 magnetized ferrite, 200 to 250 chromatic metal, 100 to 250 ionized cobalt, 200 to 250 gold, and the best one is 100 to 250 platinum. Platinum can be refined to nanites, so thinking in that respect, a platinum cargo pod will give you between 20 and 50 nanites. I would advise the Cyclotron Ballista for destroying freighter cargo, as it has long range, is very powerful, and when upgraded well, can have a long volley, so you can just sweep the long rows of cargo pods on the sides of freighters. Be aware that attacking freighters, traders and such will both lower your standing with the respective race of the system and call the space police. Fortunately, the space police will drop PUGNEUM. When they turn up, you should ignore the Sentinel drone ships until you have cleared the freighter cargo. The first wave of drone ships is tiny and weak. They will not grow in strength unless you fight back. The fourth method is missions. Primarily these missions are from the missions NPCs in the space stations, but you can also mix in some missions obtained from the bridge of your freighter. Many of the missions that can be obtained from the space station NPCs can be completed passively. These are such missions as taking a photograph of a location or object, feed or destroying fauna, destroying predatory fauna, scanning fauna, flora and minerals, destroying sentinels of each type, destroying pirates. These mentioned are all passively completed missions which you will complete as you explore and can be completed in bulk. By completing in bulk, I mean that when you complete an objective such as scanning a mineral, every mission you have which requires scanning minerals will have that mineral scan counted toward completion. So by stacking 30 missions that require anywhere from 5 to 30 minerals to be scanned, you can scan 30 and have them all completed to then hand in for the rewards. The rewards for these missions range from units, trade goods, products and nanites. Missions are also ranked as well as given by specific factions. These factions are the 3 races and the 3 guilds associated with the races: traders, explorers and fighters/warriors guilds. When you complete a mission for the respective race or guild, you will gain standing with that specific race or guild. Upping your standing will increase your rank at certain intervals. You are required to be of the rank or higher for the mission to accept it, meaning that when you first start doing missions, you won't have a whole lot of missions available to you at each station you visit, but the more you complete and hand in, the more that will be unlocked. The race standing for race faction missions is the same as what you will improve when visiting and correctly answering monoliths, observatory, transmission tower, etc. riddles, talking with a life form belonging to that race in a satisfactory manner and more. The nanite rewards from missions go anywhere from 50 or so to up to 450 in the top tier. It is by far the fastest and most efficient non-grind method to obtaining nanites. Freighter missions are a little different. What is available to you from the freighter mission table is system locked. If you leave the system with the mission active, it will disappear. You may also only obtain one mission at a time from this freighter mission terminal. These missions are usually quite good and can be used to augment your exploration or nanite grinding. Good missions from here are ones like destroying a pirate threat in the system or destroying a whole bunch of xenomorph type creatures at an abandoned building site. These creatures also count for your destroying creatures and predatory creature passive missions. While you are down there, you can also farm the larval cores, which can either be sold to gain funds for refining nanites or refine themselves into nanites. You can also visit the terminal for 30 more nanites and fix the damaged machinery that will almost always be there for more. There are several substances and products that refine directly into nanites. The first is also the most useless. This is RUNAWAY MOULD. Previously this was the best, but for balance reasons you can no longer purchase it. So in order to use this you must either collect it from overgrown alien terminals or refine it from living slime, which can be refined from viscous fluids or hypnotic eyes. I would advise selling the hypnotic eyes to then buy platinum. The route to get nanites through RUNAWAY MOULD and its pals is very cheap, but your time is worth more than what you will get out of this. It takes quite a while. Next is Hexite. Hexite was introduced not too long ago for a community event where it was briefly made to be a drop in place of copyright, meaning that it is special alien fauna poop. It can now be rarely obtained. I only know of it being a rare reward from guild representatives in space stations, that as you do missions and more will sometimes give you rewards and missions. If you get Hexite, be sure to refine it in a medium or large refiner with copyright to gain nanites at a 1:1 ratio. Then there are larval cores, HADAL cores and salvage technology. Each of these is worth more as is than in nanites, but if you must, larval cores and HADAL cores refine into nanites at a ratio of 1:50, with salvage technology refining into 15 per 1. Larval cores are collected from the egg sacs on the floor surrounding abandoned buildings. You destroy the sac and the core will drop. You must interact with it to obtain it and be quick as it will despawn quickly. As you destroy a sac, it will bring upon to you an onslaught of xenomorph type creatures that are fast and lethal. Larval cores are worth 95,000 units each at base and 104,500 at the galactic average. You will likely get around the base price or higher from most terminals. I would advise selling it to then buy platinum. HADAL cores are obtained from large mysterious rocks in the watery deeps. These special rocks are differentiated by the 4 or so glowing balls on the end of some tendril feeler-like protrusions. Interact with the balls to pick and loot the HADAL cores, but be warned, picking them will have a chance to summon a mighty fish whale shark, so be prepared. HADAL cores are worth 92,625 units at base and 101,888 at the galactic average. You'll be better off selling them and using the funds to buy platinum. Then salvage technology. You gain these from using your analysis visor on land to look for this symbol. Mark it, then head over and use your terrain manipulator at the location to unearth a tech. Interact and you will loot 3 to 5 salvage technology. These are primarily used to purchase base building blueprints from a blueprint analyzer, but can also be sold or refined to nanites. They are worth 50,000 units at base or 55,000 at the GA. You can also sometimes purchase them at a higher markup from planetside miner settlements. These are the ones with a landing pad and a small building. Inside are a few things, but the main thing here is the vendor in a little stall to the side. He will sell a few things different to other vendors, which often includes the salvage technology. As with the others, I would advise selling and purchasing platinum with the funds. PUGNEUM is a great one. It is the cheap consistent middle ground for refining nanites. PUGNEUM will refine into nanites at 10:1 and is a little under half the price of platinum, but due to the ratio and the extra time required to refine, you are still better off refining platinum. Platinum is the big one. It is not cheap, but it refines to nanites at 5:1. It comes in at 303 units per platinum, but when comparing with PUGNEUM, it will give you twice the nanites for your inventory space per run, and is very slightly quick to refine at 0.6 seconds per unit in comparison to PUGNEUM's 0.7. This adds up over many loops. For this I would suggest making a refining room. This is a 3x3 room on ideal freighter or land base. Have the centre free with 8 or 9 medium refiners on the surrounding blocks. Using glitch building you could make this a 2x2 which would be slightly quicker due to them being closer together. With 8 or 9 medium refiners, I find 80 is generally enough for a speedy clicker. You can continuously turn in a circle and non-stop refine platinum into nanites. If you are not rather rich already, you can combine this platinum to nanite refinement with a very high money making chlorine loop, which is where you take the cheap oxygen and the expensive chlorine and refine them together, which turns 2 oxygen and 1 chlorine into 6 chlorine, to then sell the chlorine to fund your nanite grind and make a little extra on top. For maximum efficiency, have enough chlorine for a single stack in each refiner ready in a storage or your freighter inventory, and go to space stations purchasing oxygen and platinum. Fill your inventory by 1/3 of oxygen and 2/3 of platinum. Head to your refining room and refine all of the platinum into nanites. Then with the inventory space you've just made, start refining the chlorine and oxygen into more chlorine. Sell the chlorine for a decent price and repeat the process for huge gains. It is by far the best way to make units and nanites at the start of the game, especially survival or permadeath where getting maimed in the field could be lethal. Combining the nanite farming methods can make for exceptionally efficient gains due to suit your playstyle. Almost everyone would passively complete missions, so collect every single passive mission you see from space stations and just have them build up and you'll generally passively complete them over time no matter what your playstyle. If you are the explorer type, you can quite easily mix in almost every exploration method at once, later refining your findings and even mixing it with making units via scanning, as having the scanner tech in your multi-tool optimized will bring you huge amounts of units for scans of flora and fauna. John Hall currently gets over 500,000 units for scanning a single rare fauna. If you are a purist grinder, then focus mostly on the refining. You could also mix in some freighter battling for a bit of fun if it fits your morality and still pick up those exploration ones as you see them. And everyone has an impulse for destruction every so often, so why not go cathartic on some sentinels for a little change to the usual? If you would like to learn more about the various things covered in this guide, then check the description for playlists and links to many other guides. Special thank you to all of the fine folks supporting Xaine's World on Patreon and through the join button below. Your support is truly appreciated. Lots more coming. Subscribe so you don't miss out.